Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. I am very excited for today's video because I am back with another review on another new indie eyeshadow palette, and today we are going to be reviewing, swatching, and creating 3 looks with the Ensley Underland eyeshadow palette, which is this beauty right here. I will say this is the third and final look that I created, and this is definitely my least favorite of the 3 that I created, so it's a little unfortunate we're doing the introduction with this one. But if you are interested in learning a little bit more about this palette from one of my absolute favorite brands, then stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project painting content, palette themed content, or just chit-chatting about makeup, I'd love if you'd consider subscribing before moving on. And other than that, let's jump into the video. Alright you guys, this is the Underland eyeshadow palette from Ensley. This is their spooky palette for the season, at least I believe. I don't think they're coming out with another one in the next couple weeks. As always with Ensley, can we just take a moment to appreciate the packaging? I mean, this is just so aesthetically pleasing from the outside, just so beautiful. This might be my favorite cover art for sure for Ensley, but possibly in my entire collection. I love everything about the outer packaging in this eyeshadow palette. And then we open up the eyeshadow palette and we see the 15 beautiful shades inside. From the words of Ensley, in this palette you are going to experience 8 high impact shimmers, including multi-chromes, holochromes, duochromes, and metallics, in a variety of textures and finishes, alongside 7 wickedly pigmented and blendable mattes, and a haunting mix spanning from charcoal blues, grungy green tones to dramatic reds, muted purples, and a whimsical pop of a holographic pink. Highlight and transform with a buildable matte white, perfect for a bright inner corner highlight or blending and lightening darker shades. Curate your own chaos with a magnetic base and removable pans, allowing you to rearrange and customize your own sinister color story. So this eyeshadow palette retails for $70. You can use codes with Ensley. I do actually have a code with Ensley, which you are welcome to use my code or anyone's code. Just use a code to save 10%. I did end up saving $7 on this eyeshadow palette, bringing my total down to $63. And shipping for this one was actually $12.02, which is actually higher than I feel like I've typically paid for Ensley, but I ended up paying with route protection a total of $76.77 for this lovely eyeshadow palette. I will say the 3 looks that we are about to create using this eyeshadow palette, I was able to use every single shade in this palette, so that I wasn't thinking I was going to be able to use every single shade to create just 3 looks, but I'm very pleased that I was, and I am so impressed off of first impression of each of these shadows. Like I said, this look right here is probably my least favorite, simply because like deeper purples like this and burgundies as well as reds like this just are not an everyday reach for me, but that doesn't mean I don't like the way that this look turned out. And I'm so excited to show you guys my blue look and my green look. But before we get into that, let's get into swatches of each individual shade within this palette. Up first, we have the shade Twisted Rabbit, which is that true matte white. I was really impressed using this matte white shade. It is beautiful on the inner corner, as you guys will see, and it just blended so nicely. Next, we have the shade Wicked Wildflowers, which is such a beautiful shade. It has a bit of that holographic finish to it, and it is such a shifty shade. Straight on, it is kind of that bright, almost neon, like pinky purple. It does have a teal base, and as you shift it, I get shifts of peach and almost like an aqua green to just a straight green. What a beautiful shade. I use that mostly on the inner corner. I created a look, but I'm so excited to use that shade all over the lids. Moving on to the shade The Red Queen. This is a really beautiful opaque metallic red. I don't get a ton of shifts from this, but if you are someone who likes just a true metallic red, I feel like you would really enjoy this shade Red Queen. Moving on to the shade Surreal. Surreal is a really beautiful shadow. For me, I get an orangey peach straight on. I almost feel like this has one of those like tealy purple bases, and the shifts I get from this are a gold to kind of an antique gold shiftiness. some orange sparkle, and then almost shifting to an olive. Then we have the shade Nonsense, which I don't think is like a true black. I almost feel like there's like a bit of purple to this shadow. Moving on to the marbled look in the eyeshadow palette, this is Shatter Looking Glass, and this definitely has some hollow to it as well. Straight on, it has kind of a lavender periwinkle sort of vibe, but there are so many shifts to this one. It shifts to almost like a blue silver, but there are also gold reflex in this, and it is such a beautiful sparkly shade. When smoothed out over the lid, I am so impressed with this marble shade. I really like it. Moving on to Cheshire's Curse, which I would describe as almost like a deep plum purple. Next to that, we have Wicked Rose, which is a deep burgundy shade, almost like a blood red burgundy, I guess is how I personally would describe it. I was really happy with the way that this one applied to the lids as well. Another matte shade, moving on to Hallucination. This is a really nice kind of mid-toned, swampy, murky green matte shade. I really enjoyed the shade Hallucination. Then we have Jabberwocky, which is a blue-brown, and straight on, it really is kind of that deep blue-green, almost teetering on a black, and then it shifts to a very deep kind of red/red orange. It reminds me of the shade Ew from the Dead Roses palette. It's one of those deeper multi-chromes that I don't personally find myself drawn to all that much. However, I think that for layering, the shade could be very beautiful. Moving on to the shade Dreadful Dreams. This is kind of a mid-tone teal is the way that I personally would describe it. And I don't claim to be an expert at describing eyeshadow shades. Then we have Shadowland, and Shadowland is a really beautiful kind of charcoal black. It's almost like a black blue with the silver and blue sparkle reflex to it. This is the least kind of metallic of all of the shades, but I found that the shade was really easy to work with, and I really liked the way that the marbled shade Shattered Looking Glass layered over top of Shadowland. Next to that, we have the shade Behead, which is a brown, kind of like a blue-green, brown-red shifty shade. This one's really hard to describe. Straight on, I almost get like a deep, almost like antique brown kind of metallic shade, and as it shifts, I definitely get a red to an orange to a gold depending on the way that it catches the light. I wasn't thinking I was going to enjoy this shade, but I actually think it's really beautiful, and I feel like paired with a warm smoky look, this could be a very, very fun shade all over the lid. Next to that, we have the shade Chaos, which I would just describe as a metallic, almost yellow-green. I don't notice a lot of shifts with the shade Chaos, but I do think this is a really beautiful metallic, kind of mid-toned, murky green. And then finally, we have the shade Rabbit Hole, which I would describe as a deep navy. Rabbit Hole, I was also just so impressed with the blendability with this one, especially just for being a dark blue. Sometimes I really struggle with dark blue mattes, but I found this one very, very creamy, buttery smooth to the touch, and just so easy to work with on the eyes. So those are all of the individual swatches of these shades within this eyeshadow palette. I'm sorry, I do really struggle sometimes to describe shades if a brand does not like specifically describe them on their website. So if you guys see the shade in another way, let us know how you see each of the shades in the comments down below. But I am so excited to get into the 3 looks that I created with this palette with you guys. So let's get on to look number 1.
Good morning. This is a zit that like isn't even close to being ready to pop, so that's cute. Okay, I look so tired. This is why I do my makeup before I do my eyes when I'm like filming a look. However, typically in real life, I do my eyes first. I think it was Lorraine who commented, and I think it was my Cosmic Beauty Undergrowth palette, just talking about like how when you don't have your makeup on first, you can be a lot more sloppy. I don't even know if sloppy was the word that she used, but it's definitely how I feel. But you can get such a better blend when you do your eyes first and then your makeup, and it's so much easier to clean up. And that's typically how I do my makeup, and that's just how I'm going to do my eyeshadow when I come on to do these videos, because I feel like my look comes together better and I feel more confident afterwards because I'm able to clean things up with doing the rest of my makeup. So all that to say, this is finally in my hands and I'm so freaking excited to be using and playing around with the Ensley Rain Undergrowth eyeshadow palette. This is what this absolute beauty looks like. I will be honest, the first time I saw the teaser pictures, I knew no matter what it was, I was likely going to pick it up. I feel like Ensley Rain and Bella Beauté Bar for me right now are those brands that, like, it doesn't matter what's inside, I will buy the palette because I love the brands and just their formulas so much. When I first looked at the color story though, I was like, oh, I don't know if I like that. But then it just took a couple more looks and I was like, actually, I really do like and appreciate the grunginess of the palette. If you guys are not new to my channel, you will know that I absolutely love Ensley Rain's formulas and I think they make such beautiful shimmers and special shades. I just feel like there's such a range and such a variety in their texture, tones, and finishes, and then I always have a good time working with their mattes. So I will be doing 3 looks and this is look number 1. I will say I'm a little bit nervous just because this palette is obviously a little bit deeper. There's not a lot of light to this palette and sometimes I get a little bit nervous about things like that, but we're gonna have fun with it. And I think because I always talk about how I don't like minty tones, this isn't necessarily a mint, but I also don't feel like this is my everyday blue that I'm comfortable with. So I think we're gonna start with a blue look. I would love to do, I definitely want to do something with like the burgundies, and then I definitely want to do something green. So that would mean the only thing we don't get to do likely would be something purple, unless we do something like purple and burgundy, or do I want to do something like blue and then red? Oh, I really didn't plan this out very well. I feel like that would make me really stressed. Are we gonna have to do 4 looks? Are we gonna have to do 4 looks? I know I can do one on my own, but I like to share them with you guys, and you guys have been so kind and so positive in my recent videos doing like 3 looks and like a deep dive on a palette, which thank you guys so much. I've had so much fun filming these, but then it just feels encouraging when I read comments that are like, oh, this is so fun, please keep doing them. Okay, we're just gonna start with a blue look like I had intended, and we'll see if we need to do 4 looks. Tomorrow, oh, tomorrow isn't even Vikings game day because it's their bye week. I was like, we could do something purple for Vikings day tomorrow. Let's just start. I have gone in and primed my eyes with my NARS Smudge Proof, which is my favorite eyeshadow primer, and I'm just gonna lay down a lid setting shade just to set my primer. I'm someone who personally likes to set my primer. That is just how I typically do my makeup. So that isn't like out of the ordinary for me. Okay, I'm definitely nervous. I'm definitely nervous. But I think I'm gonna jump right into, I'm just trying to decide what brush I wanna take. I'm gonna jump right into this shade right here. This is Dreadful Dreams. By the way, I love the shade names in here. Like, come on now. And I'm just going to start to blend this into the crease. And I'm gonna start kind of like into the crease, which into my crease means eyeshadows being gobbled up by all of the, I just have a very, like, I feel like I have very hooded, very deep set eyes. And especially lately when I've been taking like the pictures when I'm done with an eyeshadow look, I've been noticing that like no matter what, my crease just creases. And I think it's because when my lids close, like it just gets sucked so far into my lids, like there's just truly no helping it. Should I zoom you guys in a little bit? I was just saying in one of my videos, I feel like when I've been filming these videos, I'll like look down. I'm gonna try and tilt it up a little bit. I'll like look down and then you guys are like looking at like my bun for for like half the video. And then I'm just gonna slowly build that up. I'm not trying to do anything too light today. Like I imagine this will be more of a dramatic look. This probably wouldn't be something that I planned to wear to work or anything. Okay, and I am liking the way that this shade is blending out and building. I feel like right off the bat, it's not like too pigmented and it's blending quite nicely. Like I feel like that's pretty true to pan too. I will say I do also feel like you could really sheer this out because this is like one layer right now. And I definitely feel like you could really sheer it out if you didn't want something like so intense. Dang it. I just realized, and granted, I've only used one shade. I totally meant to do, like, to film, like, a overhead of this before I used or swatched any of the shades. By the way, I have not yet swatched all of the shades. I literally woke up this morning and just instantly wanted to dig into it. Haven't swatched it yet, so I don't exactly know, like, even the true beauty of all, like, what the shimmers are gonna be looking like. Okay. Just because I want to see kind of like what this white does, I'm going to take the shade Twisted Rabbit, and I'm just going to use this to kind of, I don't even want to say clean up the edges here because I don't really feel like the edges are too crazy here. I do kind of like this white. Oh, I kind of like the way that that's blending and just like lightening even the blue there. Oh, I feel like mixing this white with the blue could make it really bright and fun too. Okay, I like that a lot. But I kind of like having this like pure stark white for like an inner corner if you want like a matte inner corner. I don't feel like I have a ton of eyeshadow palettes. Maybe I'm just not thinking of them right now. I don't feel like I have a ton of eyeshadow palettes with just like a true white. I do really like the way that that white kind of lightens up the shade, but I kind of want to focus the like lighter part just on the inner corner of my eye, so I'm going to build just a little bit more of that blue shade here on the outer half of my lid. And then I'm just going to take a little bit more of that white and bring it even more into the inner corner there. And then I will do the same on this eye. All right, I took my swatch clips, so now I can dig into more of the palette. I am next going to go into the shade Rabbit Hole here, and I'm going to use this to build up the outer half of my eye. And this is where I can be like sloppy. Ooh, okay, these two are absolutely beautiful together. You know what shade I'm thinking of would be really stunning on this look, like a really beautiful shimmer? The shade Poison Garden out of, the shade Poison Ivy out of the Poison Garden palette from Bella Beauté Bar. That like blue green, I'm just envisioning being so beautiful with this. I really like the way that these two shades go together. Wow, that is stunning. And then I will just dip back into Dreadful Dreams to kind of like blend as we go so that it all hopefully seamlessly blends together. But we know I always get angry when I do my eyeshadow, one mostly because of my eye shape, but sometimes because of the blend. I feel like this is blending so well though, and I am not noticing any sort of patchiness, nothing weird when it comes to this palette, so that is really exciting. I mean, that should be what we hope for out of all palettes, but I know that's not always what we get. Wow, I feel like that does, like those two just look so good together, as I would expect. But like, ooh, I really like the way that these two layer together. And we know I love a blue look, a blue green look that's not minty. Ooh, I'm liking this so much. Okay, that with the white to like make it fade, I really like all those shades together. I feel like it looks weird over here, like when I'm looking in the viewfinder, but I'm like, in person, I feel like it looks fine. And we're gonna clean it up and add the makeup. We gotta trust the process. We have to trust the process. All right, we are gonna add NYX glitter glue to the lid. I'm gonna bring it about 3/4 of the way across my lid. All right, glitter glue has been applied. I am gonna take the shade Shadowland right here, and I'm gonna take that on the outer third of the lid, and I am gonna use my finger. I have just really been preferring using my finger these days with a shimmer shade. I never thought I would ever feel like I would prefer a finger to a brush, but that is just what I've been preferring. Okay, that is so pretty for like a deeper shade. It's just very sparkly. Like, can you see the sparkle? It's just sparkly and beautiful. Okay, I'm really gonna try and get it in that crease that just creases over on itself. But my best assumption is going to be that My crease gobbles this up too. Okay, I'll blend the edges of this and make it all come together here in a little minute. But I am next gonna take the marbled shade. This is Shatter Looking Glass. This shade right here. And like I said, I haven't swatched these shades yet, so I'm honestly not even sure what this is going to look like. It looks like a almost like periwinkle metallic purple or a lilac purple with like peach, blue, green, lots of different shades. I'm almost wondering if I should have brought that blue shade like way more in, but let's just tap this onto like the inner third and see what that shade looks like to begin. Ooh. Okay, I like that because it is like mostly purple, but I am seeing like a lot of almost like that like teal kind of blue-green effect that I really love. I'm gonna bring this a little bit farther in, and I'm really gonna look like this to try and get as much into the crease as I possibly can. Ooh, I feel like that is so pretty. I feel like that is so pretty. I kind of want to bring a little bit more of that Shadowland shade just a little bit farther in, but then also go over top of that to kind of layer. My camera cut me off. So I brought in Shadowland just a little bit, and then I'm just going over top of Shadowland again with that marbled shade, Shatter Looking Glass, just to kind of mesh the two together. What a fun effect on the eyes. Oh my gosh, I'm really liking this. I kind of want to take Shadowland all the way out to the edge here. And then again, I'm going to clean up that, but I'm going to bring Shadowland in a little bit more on this eye before I go in with the marbled shade. Oh my gosh, this almost looks like a grungy kind of like winter wonderland on the eyes as well. Like it's nice and grungy for spooky season, kind of almost giving like a Poison Garden sort of vibe. But I also feel like this could be like a grungy winter wonderland too. Oh, I really like the sparkliness from that shattered shade, and I love the way that that layers on Shadowland, the darker shade, because it just brings out like the blue green, which is, we know I love a blue green. We know I love a blue green. I know I'm looking crazy right now, but I am very confident this look is going to come together in every way and more. You know, I wasn't actually expecting a lot out of this look, simply because, you know, sometimes like I love blues, but it's almost, I feel like I love blues, but like a full, like committing fully to a blue look, sometimes I get really nervous about. Like I feel like my comfort zone is like taupes with like a blue-green shimmer all over the lid. And sometimes I get real nervous about doing like fully committing to grungy things, just because it can really take a sideways turn. That really did not take a lot of cleaning up. Okay. Wow, I really, even though like this Shadowland shade is just like, I don't know if it's necessarily like a sequin shade. And again, I haven't even read the shade description. So by the time you're seeing this, hopefully you'll have a better description of what the shade actually is. It's almost like a matte with blue glitter, or like a satin with like blue and silver glitter. I actually really love the way that that just, oh, it all comes together. It all comes together. Okay. I'm gonna go do the rest of my makeup, and then I'll come back to add like lashes, or sorry, to add liner. I can do my mascara after, but I'm gonna go do the rest of my makeup. I'll be right back. Okay, the rest of my makeup is done. I am gonna go in with eyeliner, and I'm gonna use Urban Decay's Goddess, which is this like navy blue, or like really deep blue with a bit of a sparkle to it. And then I've been sitting here just absolutely wondering what to do with the lower lash line. By the way, I am so in love with this look so far. Absolutely in love. Except for like this stupid shadow right there that I could never get to go away. Like on the inner corner, I'm like, do I go with more of Shattered Looking Glass, or do I go with Wicked Wildflowers? I think I'm gonna take Wicked Wildflowers on the inner corner. I was also thinking I could do like the white matte on the inner corner. Let's start with the white matte, because we can always
layer Wicked Wildflowers on top of the white matte. Okay, and I am bringing that white just like up like this to kind of like hopefully bring it all together. I might need to blend that with a larger brush here in a minute. Just taking a little bit larger brush to try and like make that not as stark. I think I am liking the white on the inner corner though. I don't think I'm gonna add Shattered Looking Glass just because I do want to like fully commit to like almost like this like grungy winter wonderland. And I feel like Wicked Flowers, when I swatched it, had like, it's almost like a purple with like a bit of, let me swatch it again. It's like a purple, then it has green to it for sure. Almost like a pink, purple, silver, blue, green. It's a very shifty, very beautiful shade, but I don't feel like it's good. I feel like it would change the whole vibe of the look. I actually am really liking that white inner corner. That is beautiful. I forget how much I love just like a matte white on the inner corner. A part of me wants to do a little bit of, is it Jabberwocky? This, because it's like, look at it straight on, but then if you catch the light right, there we go. It definitely has like a redness to it as well. And I don't want to add any like red to this. I'm gonna see if I can get Shattered Looking Glass. I'm gonna try and see what happens if I bring that on like the first third, just to add a little bit of sparkle to the bottom and maybe like match the bottom to the top. So then I'm gonna take a bit of Shadowland and I'm gonna take that. I actually think I might take Shadowland all the way across. Yeah, that's pretty. I like that a lot. I do feel like I'm getting like glare flecks in my eyes. Ooh, that's not good. But that's definitely my own fault. Okay. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna add mascara and then the look will be complete. All right, you guys, this is the final look. And did you see it? I'm like, was I looking right? I don't know if I could be more obsessed with a blue grungy look. I'm like, oh, the mattes blended so easy together, which is just not always the case when you are dealing with these deeper, especially blue shades. I feel like just are not always the easiest to work with. Also, I feel like sometimes marbled shades just are a little bit more difficult to work with just because you don't always get like an even blend or an even swirl. But what I love about the way that this came together is like, it feels like right on the inner corner is where the majority of like the lavender kind of part of the shadow came through, and then where the shadow meets the shade Shadowland is where it really brings out kind of like that blue greenness, but also that's where I'm seeing the majority of the like almost like peachy orange sparkles. Wow, I started with the blues because I was a little bit concerned this was gonna lean a little bit more on like that, like, I don't want to say mint because I know a mint is like, I know a mint is more light, but almost like on the teal side where it's not the teal that I feel like flatters my skin tone or just like never ends up how I want it. But I'm so impressed, and now I'm like, okay, like do the other shadows even have a chance of creating a look I like even close to as much as this one? I absolutely love the way that this turned out. I wish I had like a rock concert to go to. I feel like this would be like such a grungy good rock look. You guys, I am so pleased with this one. You'll have to let me know. I also really like the white on the inner corner, by the way. You'll have to let me know what you think about this first look. If you like the blue, if you're like, girl, why do you like that look? It looks crazy. But I mean, I don't care what y'all say. I love it. But also if you say something mean, it likely will hurt my feelings. I'm scared to move on to another look now. I'm like, I don't feel like anything could top this, especially because you guys know I love blues. And the way that sparkly shade just like brings out like that blue green, which I just, I drool over. Anyway, we're gonna stop drooling. Let's get on to look. Good morning, you guys. We're on to look number 2 with this beautiful palette. And I think for look number 2, I'm gonna stick to something green. I was sitting here swatching like all of the like special shades in this palette because I was like, what do I want to do? Like maybe I could do something purple and red. And it's so interesting, this Jabberwocky shade right here, like straight on you can see it looks blue, but then like straight on swatched it looks purple, and then it's very shifty, and I almost kind of wish I had tried to incorporate that one into my last look. But then I was layering this over this thinking it would make like a really solid purple, and that was really pretty. So I feel more confident in the direction that we're gonna go with the green look. So I figured we just knock that out, see what shades we use, see what shades we have left for look number 3, and then go from there for like the purples and reds. So for this look, we're gonna do something green. I am going to start with the green matte shade, and this is the shade Hallucination. And I'm just gonna start by buffing that into the crease. And I will say I have already primed my eyes with my NARS Smudge Proof, and I have set with just a lid setting shade. I figured we could also start with a green look today because it is Sunday, football Sunday, and we cannot commit to a green on a football Sunday because the Packers play today. And as a Vikings diehard, we could never, ever root for the Packers. Come on now. The Vikings do have a bye week this week. So I'm gonna be, I don't wanna say I'm gonna be bored, but it just takes a little bit of the spark out of a Sunday when like your home team isn't playing. Although I know that it's a good thing we have a bye because our players need rest. Aaron Jones, we need you back next week. I am so excited, but also so nervous for next week. We play the Lions, and it should be like, I mean, it should be like a true test of like who we really think is going to win our division. For those of you who know what I'm talking about. Oh, I would love to know, you guys, there's only a handful of palettes that I do not have from Ensley Rain, and I am thinking about picking up the ones that I don't have, which at this point, I don't have Twisted Tea Party, but I don't think that one's available anymore. The two that come to mind are the Enchanted, oh, what was it? The one that came out last Christmas. I'll post a picture of it over here. The like, oh, it was so beautiful. And that's the one that like, if I had to pick between that and the Harvest Moon is the only other one that I can think of off the top of my head that I don't have. And if I were to pick between the two, I would definitely pick the one that has more blues, the Enchanted. I can't remember what the Enchanted watch, it's not even Enchanted anything. But I would love to know if I should get both because I really do want to do a ranking all of my Ensley Rains palettes before the end of the year. However, I do still have Cosmic Dreamer to finish testing, which actually I'm pretty close to finishing that one. And then I have Strawberry Moon, which I have not started at all. And that one makes me a little bit nervous because that one is such a colorful one. I'm like, how am I going to find time to finish testing all these palettes? Because it just feels like there are so many fun palette releases coming. I would not be surprised if Ensley Rain has at least one more launch before the end of the year for like the holiday time. And I feel like I just have so many palettes that I still have to test. I saw what is the one that Fantasy Cosmetica just announced yesterday? It looks so beautiful. We'll absolutely be ordering that one the moment I can. I love the color story of that one because there's like just like a variety of colors. It's also the largest palette that Fantasy Cosmetica has ever done, so I'm super excited about that one. Also, I feel like I was really sloppy in my blending of the screen shade, but that's okay because it'll all come together in the end. And we're doing the eyes first so we can clean it all up. Okay, to deepen this one up, I'm gonna go in with this shade up here. This is in the shade Nonsense. And like I said, I haven't swatched the shades yet, and I can't really tell. I don't know if this one is like a true black. It looks like it might be a true black. I'm a little scared. Oh yes, it looks to be a true black on the lids. That makes me a little nervous. But I'm gonna use this to just deepen up this look. So I will just dip back and forth between the black and the green. I also think I didn't do it today because obviously I used this shade yesterday and I want to use as many shades as possible in this video, but I think these two paired together could also make a really fun look. That's something that I would definitely be interested in doing, or like a combination I would definitely be interested in doing. I will say one nice thing that I'm noticing is like the black isn't like blending away into nothing as I'm layering this green shade over top. Like sometimes, you know, when you like put a black down and then like you layer it with whatever shade you're like trying to blend it into, and it literally just like the shadow just like dusts away into nothing, or just like becomes so muted. I am not noticing that with this, and I feel like we're getting a nice like grungy gradient. I kind of like the level that we're at, but I kind of want to go even just a little bit deeper. This will be my third layer of the black shade. Like I truly feel like I might end up actually regretting adding the third layer. Like we were looking nice and grungy, but I kind of just want to go ever so slightly deeper here. I feel like my hand is getting tired from holding this palette because it is definitely like a heavier palette. Okay, now that we have some like grungy murkiness going on the eyes, I am going to, I'm almost out of my NYX glitter glue. I'm like, do I have, oh, I got another use. Got another use. Okay, putting my NYX glitter glue on my lids. Okay, I was just sitting swatching again, trying to decide what I want to do here. I think I'm gonna start by taking the shade Behead. Oh, that's kind of dark. Like, as in like the name is dark. I'm gonna take Behead on the outer part of my eye here. There's what Behead looks like. That has like some definite like bronzy golden reflect to it. That is actually a pretty shade. I don't mean like that is actually a pretty shade, but it wasn't exactly what I was expecting. In a good way. I feel like you could pair this with like a warm bronzy look and it would be a really, really beautiful shade. I'm just trying to like really fill in my eyelid creases. And for me, I do like to bring my like shimmers up above the crease because my lids like, again, kind of like cave in on themselves. All right, next I'm gonna take the shade Chaos, which is this beautiful green shade right here. And I'm gonna take Chaos on the like center of the lid, and I'm gonna bring that out over the shade we just laid down. I'm gonna bring that over that shade some just to kind of see how those two layer together. I do like the way that those are layering together, and then it kind of makes the center look even more kind of intense. And then again, for me personally, I'm really bringing that shimmer shade up. I'm trying to fill my creases in, you guys. Do not judge the creasing of this palette based on my lids. My lids just crease based on like the way that they fold in on themselves. Okay, and then on the inner like third, I'm gonna take the shade Surreal right here, which looks really red, like straight on when I just showed it, but my straight on looks like more of like a bronzy gold. That is really pretty. Okay, this shade Surreal and the shade Behead would also, I think, be really beautiful, especially if you wanted something more neutral. Again, if you were doing like a warm brown look and wanted to like pull in just a couple of shades from this palette, I feel like that would be really pretty. In fact, I almost wish, oh, I'm gonna definitely have to try the shade Surreal with like a warm bronzy look. How pretty is that? It's like a fiery bronzy red. I don't necessarily know that I love that with the green look. I actually, oh, I don't want to necessarily take it over the entirety of that green shade. Do I? I feel like I'd regret that. Although I don't love the way, I'm going to take this entirely over the green. because I didn't like the separation of those. Obviously now I feel like we haven't like fully committed to like a green look, but it is something I guess a little bit different. I really do feel like I'm thinking of the mattes from the warm brown mattes from the ABH Jackie palette with these two shades. Ooh, I feel like that would be a really special look. Okay, I'm just gonna copy what I did on this eye, on this eye. Okay, it is definitely something a little bit different. I am just gonna take a bit more of the shade Hallucination and kind of clean up the edges here. And then I'm gonna go do my makeup and I will be right back so we can complete the look together. For my eyeliner today, I'm gonna be going in with Urban Decay High Vibes, which is like a, almost like a metallic forest green. I don't know if I said this already. It is so windy outside. If you hear squeaking, it is literally the wind. That's crazy. Oh, I feel like I got eyeliner in my eye. Ow. Okay, truthfully, I feel like for the inner corner, the only appropriate thing that I feel like is going to like pull this look together without like completely throwing it off, because I don't think Wicked Wildflowers is like the vibe that I'm going for, which is the lightest shimmer. I think I am going to again go in with the white matte, Twisted Rabbit. I'm actually just a huge fan of this Twisted Rabbit shade. And it's making me want to like return back to just always doing a white matte on the inner corner. I feel like you can truly never go wrong. It's just so brightening. And then I actually think on the lower lash line, I'm going to press the shade Chaos into the majority of the lower lash. Just because I know we kind of took away the majority of that shade on the upper lid. I do actually like that on the lower lash line. Okay, and then I'm just gonna add mascara. And I think we will have look number 2. All right, you guys, mascara is on, so are lips. And I feel like we maybe just didn't do the lips right. But again, if there's creasing, please do not judge the creasing on the formula. It's literally, blame my eyelids. But this is the final look, and I will say, I definitely think I like yesterday's more, but this is a fun green look. I'm not saying I don't like today's look. I'm just saying it's maybe not exactly what I had envisioned going in, but again, it really truly is giving those like really grungy, kind of spooky fall vibes, and I really enjoy it. I am very excited to do a warm toned, like bronzy smoky eye and use these two shades. I think, oh, like I am really enjoying the shade Surreal. I think that is such a beautiful, just like bronzy, sparkly, kind of like fiery orange shade. Yep, I can definitely see. Oh, my lids are just absolutely driving me nuts these days. I like have noticed in the last several weeks, I feel like my eyelids are caving in on themselves at warp speed. Like before you know it, I don't know, you're literally not gonna be able to see any of my lid. Anyway, this is the second look. I am really pleased with it. I had no issues at all with either of the formulas. In fact, a black absolutely terrifies me, and I felt like this black was extremely pigmented, but also layered really nicely to give me kind of this like grungy, swampy look. So overall, really pleased with look number 2. We know I love blues. I also love greens. I think if I were to rank the look so far though, yesterday's look I liked just a little bit more, but this is also very shifty, and I would love to know what you guys think of look number 2 down below. Let's get on to look number 3. All right, we are on to look number 3, and I'm excited yet nervous to dig into these like really grungy purple and burgundy tones, but I think I'm gonna start out by taking the shade Cheshire's Curse, the purple. Oh, I'm just so curious. I guess I do have the white so I can lighten it up. I'm just like really curious how deep this is gonna be, like directly on the eyes. I have primed and set my lids, and I'm gonna try and focus the purple on the inner, like the first half of my lids, because I do kind of want to focus that burgundy shade then on the outer part of my lid, or the outer half of my lid. So far I feel like everything's like My lids are caving in on themselves, but I do get a little nervous using just such a dark color so high up. But I guess again, I can remind myself I do have the white to kind of blend the edges. The purple is going on, like it's a dark purple, but it is seeming to be like somewhat buildable, which I actually prefer, especially in this situation. I feel like I look wild right now. Okay, I really hope this comes together. I know I look crazy right now. I'm going to then take this shade right here, and this is in the shade Wicked Rose, and I'm going to focus this on the outer half of my lid. Okay, I do like the way that that shade is laying down. I'm then gonna go back into the purple and just add a little bit more purple to kind of blend the two together. I feel like those two kind of match slash meet really nicely there in the middle. And then I think I'm gonna take a bit of the white and use this just to see what happens. Ooh, I don't know if I like that to necessarily like blend out the outer edge, just because it's more of like a highlighting shade. I feel like I would rather dip into, honestly, almost dip into like maybe like a lighter purple, but we're just gonna roll with what we have currently in the palette and just using that white to kind of blend out the edges. I'm really happy that we're doing the eyes first with this one, because I think it'll be really important to kind of clean this up with my makeup. But just gonna build that shade Wicked Rose a little bit more on the outer corner, and then go back in and build up with Cheshire's Curse and blend those two together just to deepen up. This is gonna be a grungy look, I feel like. I just absolutely hate the way that I feel like these two eyes are shaped differently, and I really struggle to get them to look even at times. But it is football Sunday, and I'm not gonna let anything ruin my day. Okay, this is a situation where we really do need to trust the process, so bear with me here. All right, adding my glitter glue for the outer corner of the eyes. I'm gonna go in with this shade right here. This is in the shade Jabberwocky. I'm very curious to see what this is gonna show up like on the actual lid. And I'm gonna bring that about halfway into the lid. And maybe even just a little bit more, because I do kind of want to layer the red shade Red Queen over top of that to make a purple. That is a very dark kind of multi-chrome shade. It's a little bit grungier than I typically would go. Again, really trying to get into my crease here. Okay, and then I'm going to take this shade right here, Red Queen, on the inner half, and I am going to layer that over top of the shade that I just laid down. And I will tell you guys, I do not work with reds very often, so bear with me for this one. This should not have been my last look, because I have not filmed my introduction yet. And I'm feeling like I'm definitely going to feel least confident in this look. I don't know about this right now. I'm trying to trust the process. Okay, we are looking all kinds of crazy right now. I'm gonna try and take that white shade just a little bit on the, like, what I'm doing, just to lighten it up a little bit. Okay, after this, so I think we will actually have used every single shade in the palette, which is really exciting that we did that in 3 looks. I'm gonna take this shade right here. This is in the shade Wicked Wildflowers, and I'm going to bring that onto the very front of my lid. Okay, I don't know that I'm loving the way that this is coming together, but this is also just like a look very much outside of my comfort zone. And I'm trying to use all the shades. Like, this is definitely not a look that I feel like I would even like attempt to create in real life. Likely with these reds or with that like really deep shade on the outer lid. Honestly, I would probably use those shades more as companion shades with other palettes and like a more neutral look that I was feeling a little bit more confident in. That is just me personally. Okay, I'm gonna do the rest of my makeup. Okay, to tone down the like front of my, what do I want to do? I do want to like do something. I think I actually might take this marbled shade. I might regret this. I'm gonna see. Yeah, I feel like I'm filled with instant regret. Actually, okay, may totally regret this, taking that marbled shade across the red. The red is just a little too intense for me. Okay, that's a lot of sparkly colors happening on the lids, but kind of an interesting situation happening. An interesting layering, that's for sure. I feel like I like it better than like the red on its own. Maybe I'm alone in that. Okay, I'm gonna do the rest of my makeup and I will be back, you guys. Hopefully to somehow tie this look together. All right, you guys, it hopefully is all coming together. I do definitely like that we added that marbled shade over the red because the red was just a little too much for me personally. I'm not a red person, but I think we're gonna switch it up a little bit and I'm gonna use a white in the waterline. So this one is from Makeup Forever and the shade is All Around White. Okay, I hope that is somewhat showing out. My eyes are like really watery right now. I feel like I can kind of see it on my end, but it's not like the most stark white. I definitely do not feel like this is gonna be my favorite look that I've ever created, but I'm gonna take more of Wicked Wildflowers and I am gonna bring this one all the way around the inner corner and down on the lower lash line. I do think Wicked Wildflowers is a very, very beautiful shade. And I think this one would be really pretty all over the lids, especially with like a taupey cool toned, like more neutral look. I think could be really pretty. Then I'm gonna take a little bit of, I actually think I might take a little bit of the shade Jabberwocky. I think I'm gonna press that all along the lower lash. And then I'm gonna take kind of a mixture of Wicked Rose and Cheshire's Curse, just mixing those two together to buff along the lower lash line. All right, I am going to add mascara and we're just gonna call this done. I'm really annoyed that I did not film with one of my other two looks. This is for sure my least favorite. And we still got the intro and the outro to film, but it's okay. All right, you guys, this is the final look using the rest of the shades in this eyeshadow palette that we had not yet used. So we have officially used all of the shades in this palette, which is honestly really exciting. I wasn't thinking in 3 looks we were gonna use every single shade. I will say for me personally, this one is my least favorite just because I like blues and greens better than like purples and burgundies personally on my eyes, but you guys will have to let me know in the comments below which of the 3 was your favorite look. Now let's get into my final. All right, you guys, now that I have created 3 looks and used every single shade in this eyeshadow palette, what are my final thoughts? 1, I think it's beautiful. 2, I am so impressed with the blendability of the mattes. I knew I loved Ensley Rain's matte formula. I've never really had issues with their formula, but the fact that we can go into these deep, murky, grungy tones and have literally no issues with them being patchy or like weird things happening when you blend them together, I am so utterly impressed. I will say, I don't necessarily think this is going to be my most reached for Ensley Rain palette. I am looking forward to ranking my Ensley Rain palettes at the end of the year. I haven't even thought about it to think about like how I would rank each of them, but I'm excited to kind of use some of these shimmer shades as companion shades with other looks as well. Again, I have this vision in my mind of like a very warm brown smoky eye with the shade Surreal. I think I'm gonna have so much fun with some of these shimmers just paired with other palettes as well. So I'm really curious to see how this palette is going to kind of mix and match with other palettes throughout my collection. But overall, I honestly might be even more impressed just with the match. Just shocked that these grungy tones I had no issues blending. And I think my favorite shade, although I've really only used it kind of on the very inner part of my eye, I think my favorite shade, well actually I really am impressed with Twisted Rabbit. Like I feel like suddenly I'm gonna be a white eyeshadow girl, especially in the inner corner. But I'm really excited to play around more with Wicked Wildflowers. And I'm honestly really excited about Surreal and Behind. We know I just love all the shimmers. I would love to know though, what did you think of the 3 looks? What do you think of this palette? Did you pick it up? Are you thinking about it? Do you want to stay far, far away from this palette? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to watch today's video and for supporting me and my channel as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.